So we are going to start something called Sip and Talk Time. So if you don't already have a cup of coffee or a tea or something to drink or sip while we talk, then I highly encourage you to pause this video right now and go make you something, because that's what I'm drinking, some yummy coffee. Okay, so let's get right into it. Right now, the Lord is just having me to slowly introduce some of the things that He has taught me over the years and my testimony of where I've came from. I am going to start with my testimony. I don't think I have enough time to give you the whole spiel about everything that I've been through, but I can touch some key points to where and how I'm here today and how I ended up here, throughout my life. I grew up in a very broken home. I grew up in a home that had alcoholics as parents and drug addicts as parents, and just very poor, very, very, very poor. I I also grew up with abuse, so like sexual abuse and physical abuse, emotional and verbal, so pretty much all of it. It was really tough. I did not go to church as a child. I think that my mom took me a couple times for like Easter. I remember dressing up in these little cute little dresses. The regular Christian things where people just only go for holidays, which we'll get into that later because that's not correct. But anyway, I remember Jesus at a young age. Like, I just knew of him. Like, he was a part of me somehow. I think I was like 5 years old maybe when I felt him, his presence. I think I heard of his name probably from church the couple times I went. I don't necessarily remember because it doesn't make any sense. We didn't go to church a lot. But I heard of his name and it's like it stuck with me. And it became a part of me. It became who I am. He really helped me through a lot of my difficult times as a child. He brought me peace throughout that process. I did not know nothing about the Bible. I didn't know much about it. I think looking back, I see where the Bible, like, because my parents were addicts, like drug addicts, so it's like they were tripping a lot. And they had the Bible one time and they're reading through it. But I thought that was a book. Didn't know it was a Bible. I didn't know it was a Bible. I didn't know Bibles really existed really until I went to church as a 11-year-old, maybe around 10 to 11 years old, maybe 12. I'm not entirely sure. I went to church, to a Baptist church, and I mainly just went because they were driving their buses everywhere picking kids up. And I remembered one day I was like, I wonder if I can get on that bus and they'll take me somewhere else, because where I was at wasn't fun. And that's exactly what I did. I got my brother and I on one of those little Baptist bus, and we went back to a church, and they had a lot of these little Bibles everywhere and songbooks and all these things. And all of it was foreign to me, to be honest. And that's when I realized that the Bible was important, and I actually wanted one. So I actually remembered asking my mom for a Bible for Christmas, and my stepdad, for a Bible for Christmas. And that was kind of cool, and they got me one. They got me a study Bible. Now, granted, the first time I opened it up to read it, I was super, super stoked and excited that I got one finally. But it was boring because I was little, didn't know what to do, didn't know how to read it. It was kind of confusing. The words were really big when the words I didn't understand. And needless to say, I just kept trying to read it from the beginning to the end. I treated it like a book, like a legitimate book. So I didn't think I could read in between. I was just trying to beginning to end, and then I'll only get to so far in Genesis, and then I'll stop, and then I'll try again, then I'll stop. And it was really difficult. I didn't have no one to teach me how to do that. So, and throughout this entire time, I had the presence of the Lord over me. So, like, I did not know it then because I didn't know what these things existed. I didn't know what these things meant. But I could hear him and I could feel his presence and the Holy Spirit, mainly Jesus during this time, during this adolescence time. I didn't know what that meant. I just knew that that was my relationship with him. So, I mean, there were certain times for me where I couldn't sleep because I had so much traumatic events happen to me as a child that I would close my eyes and go to sleep and have nightmares. And so, like, I would pray to Jesus, and Jesus became my comforter. Like the Bible says, he became my comforter and my protector and my counselor and everything. And I would literally be in prayer, just praying, pouring my heart out to him. Couldn't sleep. Then all of a sudden I'm asleep. The next morning I wake up and I'm like, oh, I had good sleep. Like, I thought that was the weirdest thing. Like, how is this even possible? I mean, I could not sleep. For the life of me, I tried so hard and I could not get rest. And I found that to be very, very interesting. And I just kept doing it during this very, very, very turbulent time in my life as an adolescent. And I just kept praying to him every night to fall asleep. It became a bedtime routine. It literally became my lullaby. Just pouring out my heart to him and feeling his love, and then I fall asleep with it and wake up refreshed the next day. So that was some of my relationship with him. I wasn't really reading the Bible, didn't really know much about the Bible. I just had this really close, intimate relationship with him from such a young age. He really protected me, loved on me, gave me all the support that I needed in times where I felt completely alone and abandoned by my family, by my friends, by everyone. And so then I got baptized on my own at 17, almost 17. He reminds me often I was 16, about to turn 17. And I got baptized in a river. Ironically, I know we were on on those like little trips that churches go on. At this point, I'm not going to the Baptist church. I'm going to Church of Christ. Now, don't get tied up on these titles, guys. These titles of all different types of religions, church religions, different categories, really at the end don't matter, okay? And I'm sorry if I upset y'all. If you're still watching, then you understand. If you don't, I get it. They don't matter. And I'll get to that later because Jesus is the main purpose of everything. Okay, so anyway, back to it. I'm in Church of Christ at this time. I go to somewhere where they're having this little summer get-together, and I get this calling on me to get baptized. They're doing these baptized callings, and they're in the river, and they're doing it. And I get this, like, pulling motion, like, go up there, go do it, go. So I did it. Now, granted, I would like to give you a little side backstory of me as a person. Even though I had this intimate relationship with Christ, I wasn't always like a good girl, so to speak. I had my own issues because of the way I was raised. And so, like, I went on this this Christian trip, mainly for the sole purpose of the youth pastor. I had a crush on him. I'll just be frank with you. I had a crush on the youth pastor. And he was only about, like, 5-6 years older than me, so he wasn't, like, old, but, like, he had that role. And I really just wanted to go and hang out with him. I wasn't going for the right reasons. I wasn't going really to get closer to God or anything like that. No, I was really just going to get out of the house and to go hang out with who I thought was cute and who I wanted to win over. I mean, I even remember on this trip before I got baptized, I had the other wives and the mothers, because they have the boys and the girls separation, give me talks. because I was wearing short shorts, okay? And I was not appropriate, which means that, because I didn't know what appropriate looked like, okay? Because you think about my life growing up, I had no idea. So I would wear a bathing suit top with short shorts, because we're at the lake area, like at the river. And all these other girls are wearing shirts over their bathing suits. I was like, why are y'all wearing shirts to cover yourselves? Like, this is normal. Because I grew up on the lake, okay? So it's like, I'm used to this type of thing. Well, I didn't grow up the entire time, but, some of my life was on the lake camping. So we were at the lake a lot with my parents to drink and party. And so we're just like, wear whatever, bathing suits. Like, think about those things. And I had a talking to several times, and I thought those women were just like way too strict. Like, what is wrong with you guys? Like, this is not appropriate behavior, Brittany. You should keep your legs closed. You should, wear something over your shirt, over your bathing suit. You shouldn't be wearing shorts, short shorts. And I was so confused. I was like, what do you mean I can't wear a bathing suit? And I mean, I get the short shorts part to an extent, but not really. Even then, because I never got in trouble with my parents wearing that. And so it's just like, I don't know, I was just very confused. And all my intentions really was just to get the wrong type of attention, because I didn't know nothing else. I didn't. That was how I got my attention, was the wrong type of attention, because I was raised that way from the sexual abuse that I endured as a young child. I was conditioned that that was the way to get the attention that I needed. So, fast forwarding real quickly, leading up to my baptism, when I finally got baptized, people were like really surprised that I got baptized. I was too, I'll be honest. But when I did, I came out of the water completely different. I came out of the river changed, and forever changed. I immediately felt a peace wash over me, right? But I also had my calling. I had I guess you can call my gift, or whatever you want to call it. I can't think of the word right now. My office that I'm called to do for the work of the Lord. I immediately felt the most strongest presence of Him. And He would speak to me. Like, before, I would feel His presence hover over me and talk to me, but it was like a faint. Now it's like so crystal clear. Pretty much what I'm saying is I'm a prophet. Now, I don't say that lightly, because I do not like titles, and I do not like the amount of importance around titles. So I didn't know that was called that. I thought it was just called a messenger, because right after all of that, not like that same day or, like that same night, even though I was changed that same night, like I really was, everything changed. I had a conscience now. Like, I started feeling conviction from the Spirit. Like, whenever I would behave certain ways, I would start feeling that conviction come up. But I'm talking about like days after, weeks after, I started like having the Lord tell me to walk up to people and to just open my mouth. I'm like, what? And I was so obedient, and I did so. Because I was very innocent during this time. I was just refreshed as like this newborn baby Christian, and I just did it. And so I walked up to people, opened my mouth, and the Lord would just pour out a message to these people. And I kid you not, they would look at me and ask, how did you know that? And I would be like, wasn't me, it was God. I just did what I was supposed to do. That's all I did. Like, that's all I did. I remember it felt refreshing to be in that. It felt good to know that I could be at some service to the Lord. Over time, though, because, I just turned 17, I started backsliding. I started sinning on my own. I started doing things on myself. So that had so much guilt. So I kind of like shut the wall off, and I was no longer receiving all those messages anymore. Every so often I receive a little bit, tip it here, Most of it was guilt. I was running from the Lord. I was running from God. And I went and I lived like that for several years. Did lots of sinning. I won't go into all that right now. And then the Lord woke me up again. And I've been awake ever since. But I will say this. It took me a while to be where I am today. And I'm definitely not where I want to be. There's growth that I still need to do. But I've got so many little parts about me and my testimonies that I really do feel the Lord wants to use through me to help other people. And when He tells me I can talk about those things, I definitely will. I just wanted to go ahead and give a quick rundown of a quick testimony of where I came from, the type of childhood I had to where I am today in my walk with the Lord, and just to kind of leave a little bit of that information out, and we'll go from there. If this stuff interests you, I highly encourage you to continue watching. I will be posting videos as the Lord tells me to do so. And I hope that it brings someone some peace and comfort. If anything, just to know you're not alone. All right, well, God bless.